a 28-year-old woman, and for as long as I can remember, Christmas hasn't been about family or joy. It's been a performance, a power play orchestrated by my mother. Every year she turned gift giving into a spectacle, a carefully staged event where she played the role of the generous, doting mother. For my younger brother and sister, Christmas morning meant piles of expensive presents, brand new gadgets, designer clothes, the latest gaming consoles. One year, my brother got a car, a whole car. For me, the gifts were never just bad, they were humiliating. A pack of off-brand socks, a thrift store sweater 2 sizes too big, self-help books about finding direction in life. When I was 16, she gave me a weight loss guide for teenage girls, even though I wasn't even overweight. I remember sitting there holding that book while my siblings unwrapped the latest iPhones. My mother beamed at me, waiting for me to thank her. The room was full of family, relatives who laughed awkwardly, who looked away, who pretended not to see the blatant favoritism. If I dared to show even a flicker of disappointment, she had a rehearsed response ready. "You should be grateful for what you get," she'd announced to the room. "Some kids don't get anything at all." So, every year the same script. If I smiled and played along, I was finally maturing. If I looked upset, I was spoiled and selfish. It didn't matter what I did, she always won. My dad never stepped in. He'd sit there, sipping his coffee, telling me later not to take it personally. The second I turned 18, I started building my escape. I took extra shifts at work, saved every penny, and moved out the moment I had enough to rent a small apartment. I stopped going home for Christmas, citing work, or travel plans. It took a few years, but eventually I carved out a life for myself. A career, a place of my own, a sense of peace. Then came the guilt trips. "You're ruining the family," my mother would say over the phone. "Your siblings miss you. Do you really want to break us apart like this?" It took a while, but she wore me down. I convinced myself that maybe, after all these years, things had changed. Maybe she had changed. I agreed to come home for Christmas. That year was a mistake. The decorations were the same as always, twinkling lights, a towering tree, a table stacked with expensive gifts. My mother greeted me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The gifts were handed out, one by one. My sister got a designer purse, my brother a top-of-the-line laptop. When it was my turn, my mother handed me a single envelope, a wide grin on her face. I opened it. Inside was a printed-out list, life tips for late bloomers. Certain lines had been highlighted, advice about better money management, and taking responsibility for your future. I stared at the paper, then looked up. My mother was watching, waiting. I didn't react. I smiled, tucked the paper back into the envelope, and thanked her. She looked almost as disappointed. She wanted me to crack, to lash out, to cause a scene, to play the role of the ungrateful daughter so she could deliver her favorite line. I knew this would happen, but I had already started planning my revenge. Over the years, I had worked my way up the corporate ladder. I made smart investments, stayed out of debt, and built a financial stability my parents had never managed. My mother spent money recklessly, big vacations, designer clothes, expensive furniture, always flaunting wealth she didn't have. She had built an image of success, but I had started noticing cracks in the foundation. Then, a few months ago, I found out the truth. I was catching up with an old family friend who worked in finance when they casually mentioned something about pre-foreclosure notices. My mother's name had come up in a list. I checked for myself, and there it was. Her house was about to be taken by the bank. The same house where she had humiliated me every year. The house where she had held her power over me for so long. It didn't take long to confirm everything. My father had always been bad with money, but this time, my mother's reckless spending had caught up with her, and the bank wasn't giving her a way out. The moment I saw that notice, I made a decision. I met with a lawyer, went through the legal channels, and positioned myself perfectly. By the time the foreclosure was official, I was ready. I placed a winning bid at the auction. The house was mine. This year, Christmas would be different. My mother always used gifts as weapons.